Hi guys, this is Sam here. Welcome again. So today we're gonna basically show the richness of the client. In one of the videos where I showed was the power of the media server. We had the media server which is running, and we were able to basically push the using the WebRTC or RTSP protocol. You can basically have the live streaming of the media files going on to that. So this video will show that how to use basically how the client can use the media player to play the video stream file. So we will focus this time on the the media stream on the VLC player, and this is one of very good features of the Pi. VLC player is an awesome player, and I have used for last 10 years. When it came out, we used in one of the postage where we have the live live media services for the corporate services. I use this VLC player, embed it on our things HTTP, and we put as rolled out as a part of the product. It was an awesome. This was my first instinct. I use the rich client like EXTJS, where we embed this VLC player, and we had the server over a little switched or networks where it was basically playing the streaming part. So we had different protocols using that RTSP and other things. I want to bring out today this VLC player. We are using it, can use to basically play the streaming thing. So we have now, to make this short, I have the let's come to the module. I want to show the richness of the Node.js server, which can also basically help the streaming. Typically I have used this VLC player to stream over the for the video streaming servers like Lite, but here I want to focus on a chunk that we are sending to and do just a warm-up session to make sure that, to use the VLC to play different kind of media files. You can go to the VLC player and you can find it does the WebRTC, RTSP streaming and all kind of a thing. It's a beautiful player, and I have used this way 8 to 10 years back itself. It's very robust, and we use for professionally where we are doing a WebRTC streaming, and we used to this, and we embedded it on our web pages and did that. So let's focus today, go on to that and say, how does this looks on a basically on a small in a small, very small chipset, which is like Model 3B. This VLC player, it does an awesome job. Specifically, this guy doesn't have a huge memory, and if I am gonna basically, I don't have the media files or any files sitting on this box. I want to basically go to a streaming server and say, okay, guys, can I ask my VLC player, which is sitting on this guy, and can it play? It doesn't has a hard disk, it doesn't need, but can I play it from a remote thing? So I'm going to do a remote VLC streaming here. So let's go out here. You see my code here. I'm going to go out here. You see the VLC player. And the beautiful is, we will ignore this is sample video for our purpose. This is thing, because this is what our server is sending. We took one of the files which is like non-conflicting sample file, right, to play onto that, right. So thanks to one of the guys who has put on this courtesy sample files to help, so that we can basically do that. And these are so what we are watching is, I have a stream which is done by the VLC player. I have this server connected to a thing. Let's go to this code on the server out here. This is my server. I just named it as a kind of a mock server, but don't get confused with the name. It is not a mock server. It's a full-fledged node server with the routes and everything configured, and this does basically a connection with the AWS cloud. And if you see that, it has a cloud queue set. So basically I have an AWS session where I have AWS SDK. I configured my AWS with the US East 1 Joe. I have a queue, SQS. I'm very fond of this queues of SQS, and I use AWS queue to list all the queues that I had. I created onto that, and then I'm able to send the messages to queue by SQS send message params, right, and do that. So then I am able to receive the message also from the queue. So you can see that. So I also have a for the event loops also, right. So this is FS, this is the event loop, that event emitter that we are running onto that to have a particular depose or withdraw or show balance kind of a thing for an event thing. Then I also have this route setup. Let's go to the svins file also. This is, you can set any kind of a AWS file config, and I'm able to just was doing an email where I'm sending a message for the messaging, and I have a publish and promise doing onto that. So this is a thing. Let's go to the Another part of this one, so we had the different and there's a cloud trail also I set up. So if you see the cloud trail code of it, this is again with the bucket for this one cloud trail that I did onto that for the matching records, and I set the cloud trail and all. So there are different things, and I set my routes on SVSNS file. So I have different routes. So I have my configuration for node npm. I'm using AWS SDK. Thanks to AWS, it is a beautiful AWS SDK that I have used, and I've used couple of years back from here, and it worked beautifully, seamlessly. You know, that's one thing I liked very much out of AWS. This SDK, very beautiful. I mean, I did this little setup on the cloud side. This is more on the cloud to do programmatically, right? So this, I have set the routes here. So all the routes you see are basically set onto that, and you can do that. Now, since this session is more about the VLC player, this server also has a route for taking a video player. So we will go out here, and this server is running on 8840. So what I have done is I have 8840 port server run. I'm gonna say here Control C, and I'm going to run this again, node server.js file. All right, you see the server is running, okay, and it starts here, and we're going to go out here, and I already set this media player. You should watch. So it is running as it goes that. So it goes and say, hey, this is the video file. I have a chunk which is basically coming onto that, and the chunk is basically playing onto that. You can change the ratio. It's very. So this guy basically uses the npm packages to understand what is a file size and how to chunkify it. And then we are using, if you see playback, right, media file and open network stream. So you see this, we are making a call, the 10188 server. So 1018188 server is this server that is playing onto that. And this is a network streaming portion of it. So once again, and so you see this network stream is playing, right? We can play any kind of a network stream onto that, and thanks to this, VLC player has an awesome built awesome to match the streaming. All we need to do is write the streaming and do that, and you can we can embed it. In a couple of other videos I'll show how you can embed this VLC player onto any HTTP, and you can have your web pages either on the Angular or the React sites or EXT.js, and you can have this player. So currently this I'm showing is the power of this PLC. It's on a very small box, right? This particular the model of the Raspberry Pi has this model is basically delegating the job to a streaming server which is out here and playing the stream file. And in one of the sessions, I can connect with SDS or WebRTC protocol, where we can use a VLC player to basically connect to that. So if you visit my one of the sessions where we have a where we have a light server playing onto that, which was a native server written in the C code, very heavyweight server. And these clients are able to basically, talk to this streaming and say, hey, I want to stream this media files, and it able to communicate. It's a multi-threaded server. So this one is sync for this one. So once again, guys, so thanks for watching the video, and happy coding.